Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and while we're continuing yet again, we're going to do one more of these questions, trying to give you answers to, and well, we'll see how this goes. I'm kind of enjoying doing it. It's a synopsis of the questions that are left in my comment section or questions that are frequently asked of me, and well, I don't mind giving the answers to those and sharing the information that I know. And well, if you find these interesting, let me know. I'll be happy to try and continue to do these. And if it's something that, well, is just falling flat, let me know that too. I've got other things to do, and I can certainly make sure that I just keep busy doing those other things like reel repair and the like. But I thought we would change it up a little bit and call this You Got Questions, I've Got Answers, and we'll go from there. So the first one is actually an interesting one. It says, tell me about those vinyl gloves you wear, right? Well, I think I mentioned it in my early videos. I would show it all the time. There's kind of two things that I recommend when we do all of our videos. One of them, I use the vinyl gloves to protect my hand, at least the one hand, that my non-working hand. I have trouble when I glove up on my dominant hand, my right hand, and doing some of those more intricate types of things like setting parts and the like. But I do like to keep my non-dominant hand, my left hand, covered. And you can see as we do some of these videos that when you open up a reel, particularly a reel that's grease choked and the like, well, it's got all kinds of dirt and debris in there. I'd rather get it on my glove than on my hand. And it's just kind of one of those protections and precautions that you want to take as you do that. Second question that comes up a lot is, what do you use for that steel wall and why do you use it? So let's go with that. I use the fine. I call it 4-0, and some people think I'm actually talking about the 4-0 from a senator or something, but there's 4-0-0-0-0-0. It's the fine. It's a buffing steel wall. It's not one that's terribly abrasive. This one's called super fine, and I use it for polishing and for removing the corrosion that happens on fishing reels, and as a general cleaning agent. And again, I kind of use those with the bridge plates and metal parts and the like to just make them, kind of restore them back to what it is. All right, here's a fun one. Why do you know so much about fishing reels? As much as I like to think that I know much, there's always more to learn, and I'm always trying to learn more about each one and every one. And a lot of times that's been facilitated by the internet and the like. But there's also a lot of things that you can turn to learn more about the reel you have, and maybe the reel you're considering purchasing in that. But of course, the internet searches work. I think one of the first things I found is go to the manuals that are in the reels. Now, this one's a fun one, right? This is a mag-powered reel. You don't find many of these around, but this is Penn Reels Instruction Manual and Repair Parts List. And if you ever take the time to open up these manuals, there is all kinds of information in there beyond just that particular mag-powered piece. For example, this is the catalog, right? So this tells you about the mag-power series, but it also goes in and it shows you the other reels that are available. Here's your gold tournament reels of the time. Here's your Penn Senators and so on. And then you get to the back of the catalog, and usually there's the kind of parts. So a lot of time people ask, did you know that Penn made jig loops, for example? Or can I get a leveraged handle for that? Or what's the real pieces and parts and so on? Well, all of that is fun to learn, and it's all available right in the catalogs themselves. How about these, right? How to set the dog mechanism, right? Who would have thought that it's right in the catalog in terms of how to set that anti-reverse dog? Now, I've shown on more than one occasion, how to set the anti-reverse dogs in almost every reel that I work on. And surprisingly, if you just opened up your manual, you would find it right there. Here's your how to set the dogs for the 140, 145. Those are the Squitters, the Silver Beach 99, the 109. There's different ones here for the 349, which is your Master Mariner, and so on. So recommendation, spend some time with that manual. Just don't yank the reel out of the box. Put some line on it and take it fishing. Here's another one. Here's your Mitchell 306, 307 spinning reel. This is the intermediate reel. And look at this, how to cast, right? And isn't this fun? They got the guys knee deep in the water casting with that, and they probably have some notes in here about the grease choking it or loading it up with grease. Well, there's a lot of information available in many places. I thought I would share some of that with you as well. One of the things I like to do is I belong to a group called the Old Reel Collectors Association. It's ORCA, O-R-C-A. They publish a magazine, I think it's every quarter maybe, and it's just kind of an eclectic mix of old reels and learning from them, right? Here's one here going to tell you about how to get rid of the click-clack in the reel. I think I actually have that reel on my desk. Well, not exactly. Yeah, maybe that's close to that reel. I don't know. It looks like a Pfluger Summit. But at any rate, ways to modify that. And then, of course, there's the very old reels that are collectible and things that you're more familiar with, like the South Bend reels and the like that are closed-faced reels. There's specialty publications. Now, this one I purchased from them as well. But this is 150 articles that are incorporated in one book that kind of highlights the ones that were featured in there, and it presents it as a history of the fishing reels going back to the best of for the last for that decade or two there, from 91 to 2015. There's also specific books that I've purchased over time just out of curiosity. I think I mentioned on an earlier Q&A that I'm a fan of Meiselbach reels, and this one is a reel that was probably made in the late 1920s because it was made in Ohio, and originally these were made in Newark. And one of the fellows that actually belongs or is a member of ORCA wrote the whole book on the history of the Meiselbach reel, and well, you can learn from it that way. I also have subscribed to publications like Fishing Tackle Retailer. I'm not a retailer, but because I have the YouTube channels and things like that, I do get that. And this is the latest gear. So this particular one is featuring right on the front Fenwick. Fenwick is part of Pure Fishing now, and it goes into some of the more recent developments in the Fenwick line. They've always been quality reel manufacturers, and of course you get to learn about all of the latest in terms of the rods, the plugs, and some of the things that are not as relevant to me, like trolling motors and the like. Here's from Seven, and those of you that may not be familiar with the Seven brand is actually working in conjunction with St. Croix and the rods. So it actually says here, see your local St. Croix representative for more information on Seven reels. There you go. So just staying current is, well, getting current publications, kind of going through them. And of course there's a lot of magazines out there as well. And then of course there's the specialty ones. I showed you the one on the Meiselbach ones before. Here's one that's the fishing reels of South Bend. And it's kind of fun to all of a sudden see all of this stuff come together. A lot of the South Bend reels, for example, this one, I believe that's on the cover, may have been made by Shakespeare. They had a manufacturing relationship with Shakespeare that a lot of the reels that were Shakespeare reels were also branded as South Bend reels. And then this one was actually sent in by a viewer, but it was a fascinating one. It was the history of the Gladding Company. Of course, you've seen Gladding as a line manufacturer, and then you saw them producing the South Bend Gladding reels. When South Bend was going bankrupt, Gladding purchased them, and then Gladding went bankrupt and divested themselves of South Bend, and Gladding's still working today in the cording business, but they no longer do the fishing reels, right? So there's all kinds of ways and things to learn about the information. And I would say don't go out and try and learn everything. Experience is a great teacher, and when I look at how I learn, well, I learn by taking things apart. And sometimes it gets a little crazy. Sometimes there's what I call tuition reels. You open them up and you make some mistakes, and well, you paid for the reel. It's not going back together again, but you've learned from it. Sometimes it's just overcoming some of your fears. I could probably do these things with my eyes closed now, but I want to say the first Ambassador that I took apart, it was not an easy experience. How's that? And I can tell you, quite honestly, the first Mitchell 300 I took apart wound up in the scrap pile, because when I took it apart, I didn't realize the oscillation system that went with it, and well, I messed it up pretty good. So sometimes you have to make some mistakes to learn, and that goes along with the territory, as they say. Here's one I'm going to open up. I've never opened up before. It's just laying here as a reminder to me to go explore this one. This is an Eagle Claw Titan Gold. It's a closed-faced reel. Quite honestly, I do not see a lot of closed-faced reels in my shop for a bunch of reasons. One of them is that the territory, we're on saltwater estuaries. We don't do a lot of closed-faced fishing reels fishing. The other one is, well, these are almost becoming disposable reels. The price you pay for a reel, when it breaks, it's typically put into the landfill somewhere, and you just go out and buy another one. You don't send it in for service, because oftentimes the service is as expensive as the reels. And sometimes reels, well, they're just they're made in mass, and you don't have the parts support to go get a replacement part if you did identify that something was broken. So how do I know so much about reels? There's more to learn all the time, but I've given you some hints. Product manuals, hands-on experiences, some wealth of information that's out there in publications across the board, whether they're magazines or published texts or books. And of course, the internet is just fantastic for learning all of that. And then just general experience overall. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this segment. Again, let me know if it's something that you find of interest. If you do, we'll continue to do these on occasion. And if you don't, as I mentioned, we'll go try something else. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, thanking our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody who works in the interest of keeping us out of harm's way. And I want to thank you, the viewers, for making this channel what it is. And if you have ideas about videos and things you'd like to see or questions you'd like to ask, please just leave them in the comment section. I do pay attention to them, and I will try to continue to answer those for you. Thanks for watching.